Tell us about our great looking headboard.
Well, I told you we should make something instead of buy until we're ready to purchase that dream headboard. So I worked out a design of upholstered squares mounted to a backboard. So why don't you follow us over to the shop and we'll show you how we made it.
The room looks 100% better. Good job.
Good job.
Back at you.
That looks good.
Sure does.
Okay, so the inspiration for this headboard basically came from shopping in furniture stores. I mean, it's a great place to get ideas. And I started seeing all of these upholstered headboards. You know, for years and years, we always had the wood.
Big wooden, massive ones.
That's right. And now all upholstered. I don't know if we're reading in bed more, maybe, because they're great to lean up against. But I thought the interesting thing about it is I'm seeing them super tall, like taller than Matt and I, these huge upholstered headboards. Well, I thought that was a little bit overboard. Still inspired from it, but this one you can make, you can carry, you can handle. So go ahead, how do we get started?
Well, this is our backboard, and this is just half-inch plywood, and you want to make sure that you have one side that's good so that you have a nice texture that you can put the batting on and the material on the front. But that's all it is, half-inch ply. You can go to the home center store, tell them your dimensions. This is actually made for a queen-size bed. What is it, 41 by 61?
Yeah.
And they'll cut it to size for you. They may even charge you just $1 to do that. So you can have it cut.
Like
and
that.
It usually fits in the back of a small SUV, so perfect.
Anybody can do that
Yep.
then.
And then you notice this grid here. And this is kind of just a layout so that we can put the panels, once they're covered, in the right position. And also, we drilled some pilot holes. You attach the panels from the back using 1 1/8 inch screws. And we just drilled some pilot holes and we put them in, and it pulls the panels together nicely. So that's why we have this back showing here.
And then the last thing that we've been working, well, here, do you want to put a couple staples in? Because we do need to kind of finish this.
It's nice to have one of these little staple guns, but the main thing is to make sure you pull it taut, and then you just work your way across, like so.
2 hands are better than 1.
2 hands are better than 1, and if you notice some of the staples don't go all the way in, that's why we just have this little upholstery hammer, and then you would just tack these in, like so. And then you just work your way all the way around the board. Now, there is no batting on the board on the opposite side, it's just the fabric. So you just work your way all the way around, and you're done with that.
And we've started adding the decorative upholstery tacks that you saw over in the room. And they're very simple. You just space them out. We're spacing them out about every 2 inches. Try to put them right in the center, and then Matt uses his little
hammer to put them in and just hold them in position.
That's fun.
And you work your way around. It doesn't take any long time at all. Now let's show them how to put the panels together. Now this is MDF. I chose MDF because it's just a little bit inexpensive. It's cheaper than plywood, plus it just looks a little better as far as the smoothness of it for the material itself.
Okay. And we have batting that we're putting around it first. I have 2 layers of that medium loft batting, and you can even add more if you want. And I think it's also possible, if you wanted to, you could put a little, maybe a 1-inch piece of foam on it as well. If you, if you're really going to be sitting up leaning on this, you may even want the foam. But when you are adding the batting, let's do up to the corner, because I want to show you. It's always the corner that's the difficult part. Yeah. And then give me one over here. And I'm not having Matt go all the way to the edge with the staples.
Go about right here?
Right where my fingers are,
Okay. One more. There you go.
Okay, and now I end up with this excess fabric here in the corner, batting I mean, and I'm just gonna trim that right off, and that's gonna give me a nice smooth edge.
Then if you want to, you can always add a couple more
hold that down.
That way to hold it down.
And of course, we would work this all the way around, and
this is what it would look like when it's all done. So you have that, and then we have the fabric here. I'll take that one from you.
Okay, so
you lay your fabric down on a work surface.
Cutting my fabric a couple inches larger all the way around, so I have some, room to play with here. Probably, you did a nice job ironing that.
I didn't know that was my job.
No, I'm kidding. Probably should iron it.
If you pull it tight enough, maybe that'll iron it out.
Well, let's talk about when you are pulling this. You could go ahead and put a couple staples in.
Okay. Right here?
Yep. Get one a little bit closer to the corner for me, too.
These are great staple guns because basically you can give it a lot of push and it does set in. Again, if you can't get the staple down, you can always just tack it down with your hammer like so.
But when you actually are putting the fabric on, instead of going around this direction, I want you to do one entire side, reach over. Actually, you know what? Turn it. Because you want to actually give this a little pull. I want this to be really tight, and then I would have Matt come along the edge and start stapling this side. This sort of also helps if the fabric has a little grain, and ours actually has a little dimension to it, so that it keeps, you know, how you can see it going straight this way. You don't want to get your fabric kind of jabberwocky. Now what I need you to do is give me a couple more staples. Here, let's do this one.
Okay.
I'm just going to twirl this in all different directions.
Right here?
Yeah. And give me a couple of them just to hold it in place. I want to mess with the corner.
Okay, there you go.
This area is important. You really want this to look good. And we've played around with a variety of different things, but we seem to have come to agree that by pulling the center part in and creating a bit of a fold here and a fold in, we're getting one of the better looks in our corners. Okay.
Clear.
Yeah, and you said clear after you hammered it in. Once you have your panels done,
You can come into the front, and I'll just turn this around a little bit like so. And now to attach the panels, as I mentioned earlier, we have the pilot holes that we screwed in. But what I do to hold the panels in position while you're trying to screw in from the back, you can just use these quick clamps like so. Put a little batting so you don't damage the material that you just stapled on. And then you can just drill in from the back, and you can attach these and hold this in place nicely. And then you just work your way. We started from the bottom and worked our way up to the top, and then finished up using the panels, and it looks nice. And it has a lot of nice cushion to it.
and then to hang it,
I just had a couple little hooks that I use, and I would apply these to the back. These are little hanger hooks. These would go to the back, and then you can locate your studs on your wall, and then this thing just sets up on the wall, and it's behind the bed, and it just makes a terrific headboard.
absolutely. Try all different types of fabrics, make it taller like we talked about. There's all kinds of things you can do with it, but have fun with your headboard project.
As always.
For instructions for today's projects, plus great decorating ideas and do-it-yourself home projects, plus recipes, kids' crafts, sewing projects, and more. Everything for around your house. Visit us on the web at mattandsherry.com. This is show 207.